Wolves came out and they said, have we got it? Have we got it? They said basically it's time to get rid of it. And what that means, that then sparks a vote. Here it is, ready? Our position is that the price we are paying for a small increase in accuracy is at odds with the spirit of our game, and as a result, we should remove it from the 2024-25 season onwards. Now, what that means is that there will be a vote next month as to whether or not VAR should be put in place for next season. If there are 14 clubs out of the 20 that vote against VAR, it will be scrapped. Ian, it's like your birthday and Christmas has all come at once.
Well, I started off as a big fan when VAR was about to be introduced. I thought it'd end all the maybe phony controversies and debates, but it hasn't done anything of the sort. I think the deal with VAR was this. We'd accept the draining of the drama and the hold-ups and the crowd not knowing what's going on if we had a far, far more accurate game. But that isn't what has happened at all. What we've got are a load of different types of mistakes and discussions, and we've got the draining of the drama too. So I don't think it will get voted through. I think not enough clubs will vote for it to be scrapped, but it definitely needs to be very, very seriously improved. And I think the area it really does have to improve in is this. It seems to me that there's a feeling that every time their goal is scored, VAR is like a kind of nosy policeman looking through, now, what can we find wrong with that goal? And that doesn't right to me, doesn't sit right.
Ian, could you use the Champions League that we've seen over the last few weeks where VAR and the officiating seems to have worked well?
Yeah, it's a lot better at World Cups and in the Champions League. So there's an argument for saying it might be the people operating it in England.
Yeah, we're going to see, obviously, automated offsides, which is going to save all that faff with the lines.
It's going to save a lot of flapping around, but it's also going to annoy a lot of people. Because automated offside is so accurate that we're going to be down to millimetres or centimetres, and it will show. And that's how accurate it's going to be. So then people will be up in arms saying, well, this is just ridiculous, because that's not what the whole offside rule was for, or law was for. The nosy policeman sort of analogy from Ian, I think, is something which is, I think, arguably the most annoying. Where you do have VAR prodding around, say a corner's come in, somebody's headed it in the top corner, but there's people wrestling all over the place, so they go off in the little corner and then they look for something. And then we have the instance like the Anthony Gordon one today, which is opposite to the Brighton one, where that referee's decision was overturned, and then the Anthony Gordon one, where it's crystal clear after spending a wee bit of time on it that he rakes him down the back of the Achilles. The player knew it. Amrabat probably knew it as well. The referee missed it, which is fine, and that's why we have the technology, but they're just not using it particularly well. So is there a scenario where it's automated offsides, it's Hawkeye technology for the over the line, and then the rest of the game, we're just sort of back to basics? I mean, I don't know if I doubt they'll vote for that, but maybe they will.
That's what you would like to see?
No, personally, I would like to see VAR only involved in incidents in the penalty area, like for penalty kicks and handballs, which I know can be subjective, but between the penalty box, I wouldn't mind VAR getting involved. All over the rest of the field, I would like the referee to be able to referee the game. But in key areas, i.e. the penalty areas at both ends, I think we could do it that way. And then the other 60-70% of the field, the referee decision stands. So if he misses a slight over the top in the middle of the park...
So these are for red cards, obviously.
Yeah, just let that go. But I don't think, don't get me wrong, I don't think they'll do that. And if they stay with VAR all over, what we're going to keep seeing is the re-refereeing of games all over the field, which is clearly what they tried their utmost not to do in the first place. But that is effectively what we are doing these days.
Shaq, you worked for IFAB, of course, when it was all talked about, all being rolled out. Where has it gone wrong, in your opinion, from the genesis of the idea?
I think the use of the technology is a little bit too slow. How they're implementing and drawing of lines and whatnot. That when this was being first introduced by the Dutch FA, they had it down to 8 seconds between incident and making a decision.
Right.
Right? In theory, they produced a paper saying that they had it down to 8 seconds. Now, anybody who's seen any VAR incident, I don't think we've had a single one that's been less than 8 seconds. I think you also have to recognize, and in those meetings, it was discussed and decided on protocols around VAR and its usage. And you see how it worked for the World Cup dating back to 2018, so a couple of World Cups ago. They got it better then than the English Premier League is getting it now. And so each FA seems to have implemented their own protocols. And while it's a smaller sample size at the World Cups, at the Euros, etc., so there's less incident and less topics for debate, still, they got it a whole lot more right than certainly the English FA and many of the other FAs have gotten. Now, the thing for me is, and to the Wolves statement, is the price that's paid is small for the incremental increase. While that may be fine for mid-table Wolves, if your survival in the league comes down to a VAR decision, is that price too steep between being relegated and not? And then how do you justify that? If you're at the top end of the table and you're competing for the league titles or top 4 or near the bottom, we'll use VAR, but if you're in the middle, no, it's too much of a cost. That doesn't make any sense. And while, especially now, and you're right to raise the topic, because but for VAR, Real Madrid probably wouldn't be in the Champions League final. And is that too steep a price to pay? So I think Wolves are kind of, knowing that this is a non-starter, knowing that this, I am 99% certain that this will get voted down, but knowing that this is a non-starter, have kind of take this claim almost to appease naysayers, as opposed to not that they expect anything out of it, but they just want to be able to say, well, we said it wasn't making any sense, which is just kind of dumb in my opinion.
But Frank, imagine if they do vote and it gets scrapped, we're going to be sat here every week saying, oh, but if they had VAR.
Yeah, and we would be right, because I think it's an improvement.
Will take us through the action, and we'll have kickoff right in just a few seconds here. And here we go. In the centre circle now for Orlando City, looking towards that right hand side. With a race forward on that left flank, it's with Maguire. The good sliding challenge it was eventually by Inter, looking to clear it out of the defensive half. They do get it upfield eventually. Apologise for those technical difficulties, but we're well and truly underway now. This time now, just on halfway, it is with David Bracalo. Now with Catena, just inside his defensive half, looks towards that left flank. Looking to race forward now. Orlando approaching the left edge of the penalty area, looking to play a ball forward, but it's, well, intercepted by Inter Miami's defensive half. And Marcelo Weingand has been quite the addition this season, and will now go out of play for a goal kick. 28 degrees Celsius here in Orlando. Quite heavy conditions, and we'll see as to apologise for those technical difficulties briefly, just having a bit of issues at the moment. In the centre circle now is Benjamin Cramashi, looking toward that left flank. Midway point of the Inter Miami attacking half is Franco Negri. Looks a little slide forward. Here is Luis Suarez bearing down on goal. Luis Suarez! And a great save from the goalkeeper. Pedro Gallese coming up big in the right time. And a good save from Gallese. A very, very good one at that. That'll prove pivotal in the makeup of this. Now towards that left flank, and it's a good clearance by Orlando. They look to flick across the defensive half and towards the central region. Here's Marcelo Weingart. Short pass towards Matias Rojas, about 25 yards out from goal. To the D, is back with Rojas. It's just absolute pandemonium as it's now to Gallese, who's going to attempt to play it forward.
And for me, VAR works very well. And it's the people in front of the TV, the screens, you know, operating, who are incapable. That's the problem for me. They don't know. It took me like 3 highlights and in 3 different positions to know that it was a foul against Gordon from Amrabat. It took me like 3 highlights to see that it wasn't a penalty for Cucurella. I mean, you have to know football. That's the problem. How to use VAR in the best way is to know football. And I'm sorry, the people, referees, know nothing about football. So that's something you have to consider. They have to play football before being a referee. Otherwise, they will be overtaken by the subject and they won't be good at it like they do today. Just one more thing. It's not only in Premier League. I tell you, I watch Liga. Every weekend we have a problem as well. So it's not only in England.
Yeah, La Liga as well, of course, we cover.
Yeah, but there are good referees out there. The French referee that refereed the Real Madrid-Man City game.
Is that the Trossard lookalike?
The Andrew Trossard lookalike.
Trossard's brother.
Absolutely fantastic. And he was prepared to make big decisions. And then VAR was there to support them rather than hedge his bets and waiting somebody bailing him out. He was decisive. And he let that game flow, and it was a terrific game in the Bernabeu. And I get it. We could argue about officiating standards all across Europe, and every country has their own gripes about the standard of it. But let me tell you, when we're talking about the Premier League here, we could take some of this VAR away, but we cannot take away bad officials. And at this moment in time, there are more bad apples than good apples in the Premier League refereeing fraternity. There are some good ones, but there's not enough of them. You know, if you take it away, yeah, people will say, well, we have the entertainment back, everything's quicker, and this is all natural, and okay, that's fine. But you're never, ever, at this moment in time, going to be able to do anything about the standard of the refereeing, which in England, if we take that in isolation, the Premier League is substandard, apart from 3 or 4.
But by the way, just on that point, semi-automated offsides, I don't think eradicates any debate. I think it helps in improving referee and improving how quickly you come to those decisions. But I don't think it totally eradicates debate. And I'll use, again, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and the goal where the referee kind of blew a little too quickly.
Yep.
Two players standing next to each other, two Bayern players standing next to each other. One who's in an offside position initially kind of retreats. The one who's in the onside position moves. How does the automation... Can the automation catch that? Catch those kind of nuances within the game?
Yeah, it's very clever.
Thanks, Dan.
No, it's very good. He'll sort it all out. All fine. Ian, what's he going on about?
Well, that sounds to me, reading between the lines, as if he's had some discussions with Daniel Levy and maybe the transfer funds he was hoping for to rebuild the team and turn them into a top 4 team, not a top 5 team. Maybe he's been balked in those discussions. He certainly seemed extremely disillusioned. It's unlike him, I think, to bare his soul in that way in front of the journalists who were great with their questioning. But he sounded a little bit like that, unless he's also just reflecting that this gung-ho attacking star, which everybody loved at the start of the season, and they got, 26 points out of the first 30, that he does have to adapt that as well for Tottenham to be more successful than they currently are. But yeah, I think watch this space. There's going to be more going on there.
I miss happy Postecoglou.
Well, it's very vague in that it wasn't in We Love Clarity on this show, because that's what we give.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But look, he goes into the Tottenham job with his eyes wide open. You're never going to get the biggest budget from Daniel Levy. It's going to be frustrating, and you're going to have to possibly go to markets for players that are under the radar a little bit and a little cheaper. And I'm sure he was aware of that. Also, like he was aware that Harry Kane was probably going to go. So none of these should be surprises. Also, what that might be saying to me is he's seen some stuff from the playing staff as well that he hasn't liked. Maybe down in tools, maybe a little bit.
Right.
Maybe thinking about the rivalry with Arsenal. Maybe, already thinking about the summer holidays when Champions League was still there, even though they were playing Manchester City. It was at home and it was doable. And Ian's talking about the off the field side of it, and that could well be true and might have an impact. And that would have a more worrying impact for me if he's got a problem with that, because that's unlikely to resolve itself. Where he can make a difference is with the playing staff. And maybe he's seen some stuff. And we saw the reaction of Bentancur. We've seen a little bit recently in terms of some of the performances. Maybe he's just seen some things that he thinks, I've learned a lot here. Yeah, the punters are getting on my back, but I've learned a lot that I can't go into next season with one or two of these, because when we were playing well, or maybe even more than one or two, because when we were playing well, everybody was walking about, strutting about like a peacock. But all of a sudden, recently, for Spurs, been a lot tougher, a few more questions coming his way, and he's looking at his players, and he's maybe not getting the reaction or the performances that he's wanted. So now he's thinking, right, it's my backside on the line. He said that, I'm just here to win, and if he doesn't win, he'll be sacked, like every other manager. And so he's now got some decisions to make in the summer. All this squad, some of them have done really well for him, some so-so. And I think he's looking at it now and going, maybe not going to get out of you what I thought 3 months ago. So we need to look at some big changes.
He just seems like a very angry man at the moment. We saw him shouting at the Spurs fans who were cheering.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You don't mind him shouting at the fans?
I'm just saying it's okay to be an angry man.
Well, yeah.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
I think this is where it all comes to a head, and I'm a little bit more conspiracy theorist about this. I read in between the lines. I'm wondering if somebody higher up in the club doesn't say to him, play the kids against Manchester City. we'll sacrifice what chances we have of finishing top 4. Villa will win anyway, but we certainly do not want Arsenal winning the title. That's certainly what the fans
Come
don't
on,
want.
Shaq.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Hold on. The gravitas and the financial side of the Champions League. Come on. There's no CEO. There's nobody in the world who's going to say, I tell you what, we don't want to be in with that.
Let's hope not. All I'm saying is let's hope not. Just given Postecoglou's post-game press conferences and body languages we've seen all season long, win, lose or draw, and contrast that with what we see now, I can't help
Shagging up everyone. I didn't think you would be the head of the conspiracy.
I'm going conspiracy theory here. I'm going full conspiracy theory.
10 days in the Grenadines, that's what you come back with. I mean, seriously, come back with that illness again. You come back, not these conspiracies. But that fan that he was having a go at allegedly was piping on from the first minute to the last minute about chucking the game. And maybe, and again, this is not a conspiracy theory, it's just an angle. I wondered if he thought, is this the mentality at this football club? That, by the way, have won diddly squat for how long? Really? Come on, really? How competitive have they been? Pochettino had a little period, Champions League final, had a sniff at the Premier League, we're in there for a little bit. But apart from that, there's been years and years and years they've not been at the races. And yet here we have, rivalry or not, fans talking about chucking games. And maybe he's thinking, I don't care. I just want to win. And that cannot be the mentality in the stands, and that cannot be the mentality in the dressing room.
Sounding a little bit like me, Craig.
Frank, what do you make of it all?
Well, it's hard to analyze what he really meant because it can go in every ways. But really, I'm with Craig. I really think that it has been disappointing throughout the season. Because of the mentality of maybe some people on in the board, maybe some players, certainly some players also, and also the fans. Yeah, and it's like the mentality has to be changed in order to win something. You have to stop being happy with just, having a good season, but not winning anything. And now he changed the way of playing. He started to change the spirit, but he feels that it easily goes back to the same mentality. We're just happy to be there. No more, not too much ambition, and that's for somebody who wants to get something, wants to win, it's impossible to accept. So I really think that he wants to shout something to make sure that next season the mentality will change and that it will be more capable of changing that and making sure that everybody is going to be on their toes to win something next season.
I just don't get this. If I was a Tottenham fan, right, yeah, I would be a little bit frustrated and maybe disappointed that I didn't pick Villa for 4th. And that's, by the way, the most they could have done. By a million miles, right? They haven't got the squad, right? But if I was a Tottenham fan, I'd have been walking away when they finished this season saying, well, I tell you what, that was bloody fun. That was enjoyable. That was seat of the pants. And actually, I'm looking forward to what this guy might bring next year, because if that's what he's able to do in 10 months, what's going to happen next year? And so I would be looking forward to what Postecoglou may bring. He might not. But it seems to me a lot of negativity around this Tottenham scenario, as if they had the right to be, or even the ability or the depth to be in with Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. I mean, absolutely not a chance. And for once, the Tottenham fans were entertained and were hanging on to what could have been something way better than they ever thought. And yes, it fizzled, and it has fizzled a little bit, but if you're not a Tottenham fan going away thinking, next year might be quite fun, actually, then I don't know what you're paying your season.
Meanwhile, Ian, the results over the last 24 hours means that Aston Villa are guaranteed Champions League football. What an achievement for Unai Emery.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't think they could have dreamt it at the start of the season. Ollie Watkins has done great. They've got a fantastic goalkeeper in Emi Martinez. Again, still really firing. So congratulations, really, to Aston Villa. They built it really on that fantastic home form they had in the first phase of the season. I think they won about 13 at home in a row, and they might have been more than that. Somebody will correct me. But, I was a bit disappointed that they couldn't overcome Olympiacos and get to the Conference League final and win that competition. But they'll certainly take this top 4 place, and the good times are back at Aston Villa.
Yes.
Of this Premier League season. On Tuesday, we saw Manchester City get that huge win at top. I was going to say Alfinger Holland for a second. As far as today is concerned, Chelsea beating Brighton to boost their European hopes. It's a 4th straight win for Mauricio Pochettino. His home league campaign, beating Newcastle by 3-2. So going into the final week, beating Newcastle by 3-2. So going into the final weekend, this is where we stand then in the Premier League. Manchester City in pole position for a historic 4th can still retain the crown. But if City draw or lose and Arsenal win against Everton, then the Gunners will claim their first title in some 20 years. Liverpool and Villa will play Champions League football next season. Tottenham are guaranteed a top 6 place, so Europe is guaranteed. They just need a point to claim Europa League football. Chelsea are 1 point away from Europe. Newcastle need to win and hope Chelsea lose to make European football themselves. But also Manchester United are in the mix. They can also be in Europe in the next campaign. At the other end, well, it's fair to say the picture at the bottom is much, much clearer. Sheffield United and Burnley have both been relegated to the Championship. Luton Town's fate now looks all but sealed to stay up.
Season, but what does it mean to finish with a performance and an effort and an atmosphere actually like this?
Oh, obviously, the job isn't finished yet. We have still 1 game in the Premier League, and then we have the biggest game of the season for the FA Cup. It's been a tough season. Everyone knows the table shows that. We don't need to hide from that. We all know, we are aware of that. But I think fans have been amazing this season with us. They've been behind us all season. They've been supporting us. We really appreciate what they've been doing for us, even in this tough period for them that they're not used to that. So we want to do better. We want to do differently, and they deserve that.
I know you've been injured for a couple of games, but actually the atmosphere, the last home game and at Palace and today, it's been quite something, hasn't it?
Oh, that's what I mean. They've been amazing for us. So we had to do something for them. We've been trying. Obviously, the results don't show that, and it could look that the team is not trying, but we've been trying our best. We've been working hard. Everyone is giving their best. Obviously, it's not being enough. We are aware of that we have to do more. As I said, it's not about today. We still have 2 games to go, and we have to finish in the best way.
Real captain's performance from you today. How determined were you to be part of that tonight?
It doesn't exist a captain's performance. It exists a team performance, a player that has to do the best for the team. And I'm not different than anyone because I have the armband. The armband doesn't give you the responsibility of doing better performance. The chest do that. So I try always my best, as I know my teammates always try their best. and we always do the best we can for the club. And no one hides that we play for a big club, and we have to lift our standards every game.
3 goals from young players tonight. How hopeful are you for the future, and how determined are you personally to be part of that future here next season?
It's not about the youngest, it's not about the experienced ones. It's about the mix that we have to create, because it's not because they're too young that you have to show more. It's not because you're more experienced in the toughest periods you have to come out. It has to be a mix of everything. Everyone has to show the same passion, the same responsibility in every game, and everyone has to be aware that the responsibility has to be shared in base of what age you have.
And you'll be part of it, will you, leading this club back to where they want to be?
I will be here until I said the club needs to want me. I feel that the club wants me to be a part of the future. So as I said always, I don't want to be a player that the club doesn't want to have. If for some reason they don't want to have me, I will go. But if they want me, I will stay.
He wants you now.
Yeah,
listen, take this.
It's normally the press officer that stops these interviews, but this time it's the Manchester United manager. He'd had enough. I think, actually, his motivation is he wants to address the crowd himself.
Erik ten Hag. On behalf of the players, staff, myself, I want to thank you all for the brilliant support during the season. As you know, it wasn't an easy season, but one thing remained constant, and that was the begging of you for the team. But the season is not over yet. First, we travel to Brighton, where we go for 3 points, and then we go to Wembley. And I promise you that those players will give everything, but then everything, to get that cup, to win the cup, and bring him to Old Trafford. And we are sure you will be there supporting us. We thank you. You are the best supporters in the world. Thank you.
There we go, Erik ten Hag telling the Manchester United crowd here they are the best supporters in the world. Doesn't feel like, Wayne, they are ready to sever this relationship with this manager.
No, and I think the players, the manager are very fortunate. They've got a set of fans, like the Manchester United fans, because you see the atmosphere tonight, you see the reaction at the end of the game, and the season hasn't been what they want. Obviously, it's not over, you've still got the FA Cup to fight for, but it shows what great support this club has got. They're still right behind the manager, you can see that. They're right behind the players, they want the team to do well, and they'll keep going until the FA Cup final at the end of May, and hopefully, as Eric's just said there, he can bring the cup back.
But would United fans pride themselves on always supporting the manager, whoever it was and however they were doing?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're generally a loyal group, obviously, and they're trying back to manager. He's had 2 years, and they will look at the frustrations he's had in terms of problems in the background, injury problems. But he has to take some responsibility. But I don't think it will get. I don't think they'll be as easy as if they're in this position next season. Obviously, they'll need improvement. We've come to obviously the last few. It's been a strange old atmosphere. There's obviously again huge disappointment. I suppose that's the word you can use. But there's also in the back of your mind that you also have to think we still have a cup final. And if Man United can get over the line, then all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, it's another trophy on the back of last year. Again, the recruitment's going to be key over the next few months.
Sorry, but he's talked repeatedly, well, Varane we know is saying goodbye, and it might be one or two of the more senior players are are leaving Old Trafford, but he's talked repeatedly about this club being in transition. Have we seen another glimpse of that tonight? With Menu getting on the score sheet, Ahmad impressing and getting a goal, Højlund coming off the bench and grabbing one as well.
Yeah, I think we at Manchester United have been saying that for a long time. The club's been in transition. You know, we've been through a few managers, and new managers come in. This is his second season. He's got himself into another cup final, but ultimately it's about results on the football pitch. And Manchester United find themselves in a position in the league where they didn't expect to be this season. You know, there's no way Manchester United expected to finish so low in the league, and that's what it's about. You've got to try and compete in the league and finish higher in the league. So the position is very, very disappointing this season.
Are there shoots of encouragement there, though, Wayne?
Yeah, there is. You look at some of the young players there. You look at Menu. You look at Garnacho. Real potential for this football club, and I think there will be quite a few players leaving the club. As Coley's just said then, the club's been in transition for the last 10 years, and you know, you can't keep getting rid of managers and bringing new managers in and starting again. They're going to have to give a manager some time to rebuild the club and get it back challenging and competing for the major trophies.
Newcastle United and draw level with them in the race for European places. One game to go. Andy, Roy and Wayne are here. Let's look straight back at the first goal of the night. And Kobbie Mainoo, in some ways, Wayne, does this sort of encapsulate and, you know, I suppose seal his first season, his breakthrough season as a Manchester United footballer, his third Premier League goal?
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and I think he's played a lot of games as well, and not easy. Obviously got his call up for England as well, so he'll be hoping to go to the European Championship. But I think he's had to take a lot on, because obviously a lot of changes within the team, but over the last few months he's been a mainstay in the team, and he's chipped in with a few goals, great maturity on the ball, and I think he's got a real bright future, and I think United fans should be really excited by him, because I think he can go a long way in this game.
Is he one of the bright sparks of the season?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's not been easy coming into a team that's been struggling, and but he's been very mature. You talk about positions, responsibility. You know, playing around the middle of the park is certainly, you know, it's a difficult challenge for him. He's added a few goals to his game again. It's just how he settles down. He'll be getting the plaudits for this season, obviously getting involved with England. Just got to stay grounded. He's learning his trade, but he's had a very good start to his career at United.
How well did Newcastle strike back, though, at the start of that second half?
Second half, they really pinned Manchester United back, and they deserved the equaliser, to be fair. I think Wayne touched on it. The first three dead ball kicks, you know, Manchester United went short, and everyone got them in a little bit of problems, and this was the final straw. Great cross by Murphy, and it's a super finish by Gordon. Very, very good finish.
Makes it look easy, but what are the technical issues that he's got to resolve here, Anthony?
I was looking at it and said to myself, I thought he'd gone with the wrong foot, but the contact is made on it. You know, I'd have gone left foot there, because it would have been a little bit easier.
Pace. It's a great ball from Murphy.
It's a fantastic ball, but taking off away from the finish, it's a fantastic finish.
So one apiece at that stage, and then the goal from Ahmad, the challenge from Amrabat first of all, which saves Manchester United at 1-1. You're thinking, which way is this going to turn? And really, it felt like the next goal was really going to be crucial. And how about this for Amrabat? Something he made his name for, really, at the World Cup, wasn't it, Roy?
He ended up doing really well. Newcastle will be disappointed with the final pass. He gives them a bit of a chance. But again, a good lesson for any player. He didn't give up. And even whenever he's running back, he just does enough. He almost forces Gordon to play it too early. And then he never gave up, gets a little bit of luck on the ball in the crossbar. And that was a huge turning point in the game. You know, if United got 2-1 down there, you're thinking, you know what? Again, long way back. Never given up, lunge, and again, deserved that little bit of luck.
But if you're Newcastle, you think he could have been a little bit more ruthless?
Gordon, I think Gordon should have drove even more. At worst, you can cut it back and then someone's got to tap it, you know. And I think the weight of the pass, you could add a little bit more weight on the pass, and then it makes it easier for...
Because is there a question at this stage, Andy, that if Newcastle score again, that Manchester United could have gone under?
There you go, you know, but Manchester United turn it around after this. You know, it's just the weight of that pass, a bit more in front of him, and he's got a better opportunity to finish it off.
Wayne, talk us through the strike from Amad Diallo.
Great strike. I think he's obviously put himself in
this
position
time,
at the edge of the box.
central left-hand side, slightly upfield now for
first the header.
Lodielo. Turning away now was Aloiho. And a beautiful switch towards that right flank. Can Negri get to it first? He can initially, and he'll play it out for an Orlando City throw. They really are applying the pressure. It's crazy how this game continues to ebb and flow. A neat turn away, and it was struck kindly. But Drake Callender with such a huge save. Match defining, might you say. Orlando City will win the throw again. Just a player with such poise and intuition. Angulo looking to throw it in on this right flank for Orlando. It does eventually, now to Maguire. It's now Angulo at the midway point of the attacking half for Orlando City. And playing all the way towards that left flank. Here's Schlengel on the edge of the area. It's with the strike on goal. It arrives eventually. Long range effort, but it's Callender who claims. And Miami just need a position at the moment to just reset, reconsolidate, and recompose themselves. That is the real key for them. So Sergio Busquets, midway point of the defensive half, long ball forward out to that right flank, and space opening up here for Rojas, who's brought to ground and is awarded the free kick on the right edge of the penalty area. Rodrigo Schlegel, who just latched onto him and exerted too much force, will now concede the foul. And will look to fashion a delivery into the area. Standing over this one is Matias Rojas. Into Miami. Players eagerly waiting in anticipation. It's Matias Rojas about 30 yards out from goal, and also Julian Gressel standing over this one. They go with the right foot, and one of the best crosses in the league, but they go directly on goal. I think it was Gressel with the shot. In fact, it was Matias Rojas, and it's tipped over by Pedro Galese. Rojas with a good delivery, just flicked over the top by Galese. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And the delivery to arrive now from Inter Miami on that left flank from Matias Rojas, who delivers now towards a back stick. Galese gets a palm to it. Still alive for Inter, but it's Orlando City who's going to play it all the way forward on that right flank. And Kramashi with the foul. That's a few already. Has to be very wary to not go into the book. But Galese just getting a right palm to it. In the right way, shape and form. And we'll see Orlando take the free kick in their defensive half on that right flank. And Galese is going to take the free kick on this right-hand touchline. They'll look to bomb it forward. The Orlando captain, should I say. Long ball forward, flicked on that right flank, but it's with Nicolas Flio. Sent it back into the attacking half for Miami. There is Suarez, and he gives away the free kick, just bundling over the number 16, Wilder Cartagena. Play quickly on that left flank for Orlando City. Just on halfway on that left flank. Here's Aloijo, and it's at the circle. Out towards that right-hand side, right-hand touchline. Here is Angulo. Central Aloijo. but it's intercepted by Miami, and Cremaschi looking to break space, but Arroyo wins it back, and the attacking half for Inter. For Orlando, should I say. It's with Angulo. Lateral lead now does find Odero, assessing his options and playing it laterally towards that left flank for Schlegel. Left-hand touchline for Orlando once more. Stepping and making the interception was Tomas Aviles. And it's taken now by Orlando City down that left flank. One back by Inter Miami past halfway to Suarez. Now looking to flick it back in the defensive half for Inter Miami. This time down to Cremaschi. Midway point at the defensive half on that left-hand side now. Down towards the right flank. Here is Angelo Weingart. Long ball upfield. Heads with Suarez across the D. He's shouldered down, but no free kick awarded. And midway point at the defensive half. It's back with Angulo. He's doing everything. Defensive work. Offensive too. He's really a man of many disciplines. Rodero in the centre circle. Looking towards that left-hand flank. Played right into the centre circle. Here's Aloijo. Naturally does find an option, but Orlando happy to knock it around. Here's Bracalo. Nice little 1-2 touch, and it's out towards that left flank. And all the way out of play. Oh, goodness gracious. Rodrigo Schlegel making an absolute meal of it, but the attempted switch from Ojeda unable to be instituted whatsoever. Here's Gressel back to goal. Midway point of the Miami attacking half is Benjamin Cremaschi bearing down on goal, looking towards that left side. Franco Negri with the ball inside, laterally looking to square it, but it's well cleared by Orlando. The free kick is won by Inter Miami, but free kick will be now given as an advantage as it's played back into midfield now. Here's Tomas Aviles. Looking across the D for Suarez, who left it initially. And now is Maguire. Slightly heavy touch, but he's slid in by Franco Negri. In the centre circle, here is Sergio Busquets, just past halfway. Looking towards that central right-hand side. Here's Matias Rojas. Long ball into the area it goes, but Brecolo is able to get there in time. And in spade, and for Torres is going to lap it clear up the pitch for Orlando. So no one in pursuit. Here is Nicolas Fleur, Benjamin Cremaschi in the centre circle. Here is Sergio Busquets. Looking towards that central right-hand side. It's Gressel. And now Robert Taylor with the initial touch. Right-hand touchline is Marcelo Weingart. In the centre circle now is Nicolas Fleur. Slightly upfield is Marcelo Weingart in a more central position. This is Weingart. Suarez looking to play the first time ball over the top. Weingart approaching the penalty area, driving inside out towards that right flank. Weingart! It's looping towards that left-hand side. Out for a goal kick. But Inter really struggling to generate effective shots on target compared to Orlando City. Really unfortunate that they can't effectively generate anything. But as for Orlando, they should feel very confident with the way in which they've played their football so far. Possession's been more or less evenly poised, but in the way of Inter Miami with 54% of the ball. Orlando with 9 shots to Miami's 5. There's a bit of a conjecture here. Pedro Galese and Luis Suarez exchanging words, and Suarez eventually given some words by the referee. Interesting to note that's occurred. Suarez has given a few words. It's now back in the penalty area for Galese. He's going to play it all the way clear up forward. Now back to goal. Initially was the option for Orlando City. In centre circle, Gressel looking towards that central right-hand side. Here is Luis Suarez. Slightly forward is Benjamin Kramashi. He goes to ground. And the free kick awarded for Miami. About 40 yards out from goal on that right-hand side. And Benjamin Kramashi has just been such an absolute force for Inter. One of the brightest prospects in American football. 19 years of age. And he'll look to deliver this one. But you will say it will be probably Robert Taylor, Julian Gressel or Matias Rojas. And it will be Julian Gressel standing over this one. 35 yards from goal, you would have to say. He wouldn't go direct, surely, from this position. This is Isbra Rojas. And Julian Gressel standing over this one. It's Julian Gressel. Delivers it towards a back post, and it's unable to be kept in play. Or still alive, though, but no, it's not. It's going to be a goal kick for Pedro Galese. And we'll now see as to Orlando City going to likely play out this first half. It's been topsy-turvy here and there. Philadelphia Union's clash against New York City FC had to be paused due to a raccoon coming onto the pitch. That is certainly the greatest league in the world. Of course, a few games going on at the moment. Philadelphia Union down 1-0 up against New York City. Montreal down 1-0 against Columbus. DC United 0-0 with the New York Red Bulls. And Cincinnati lead 1-0 against Atlanta United. Ball up towards that left-hand side by the defensive half for Inter Miami. It's with Aviles. That was out of play. Probably only will get 1 minute of added time, you'd have to say, based on the balance of play. Back in the goalkeeper penalty area. Out towards that centre circle for Orlando. Arroyo out towards that right flank. It's with the right-hand touchline, Angulo. Midfield for Orlando, and it's out towards that right-hand side following the clearance from Benjamin Kramashi. And that will actually be the half-time whistle. No added time. central left-hand side here is Nicholas Freer. Julian Gressel playing it back to his goalkeeper in Drake Callender. Central right-hand side here is Tomas Aviles. Back of a step is Matias Rojas. Midway point of defensive half is Nicholas Freer. He's got options upfield, but decides to take his time and play it to the central right-hand side of Tomas Aviles. Now it's back towards Nicholas Freer, midway point of the defensive half for Inter Miami. Back to goal. Here is Drake Callender. Drake Callender. Long, high looping ball upfield. Back to goal is Suarez. And does eventually find Kramashi. A long ball forward out to that left flank. Here is Franco Negri approaching the penalty area on that left-hand side. Looking to roll it square. He does so, but it's intercepted by Cartagena. And it's well defended by Orlando up towards that right flank. Looking to play it up forward was the option eventually of Angulo. One back by Inter Miami at the midway point of their attacking half. Long ball forward, but it's into the arms of Pedro Galese. Out towards that central left-hand side now for Orlando City. The attempted clearance was there. Midway point of the defensive half now for Orlando City. Here is Arroyo. He's got space opening up on that right flank, and they do pass past halfway. Here is Angulo. Just inside the defensive half here is Odero. Out towards Angulo. Midway point of the attacking half on that right-hand touchline. The triangle is completed, and now it's looped out towards that central left-hand side is Slengel. And now Muriel on that left flank, approaching the penalty area on that right flank. It's into the centre, it's with Maguire, and it's then slid out by Kramashi. And Luis Suarez looking to leave it to no one in pursuit, and it's one back, cheaply given away by Inter Miami. Orlando City now, and they're attacking half on that central right-hand side. Here is Odero. Right-hand touchline is Angulo. Back of a step. There's Aloyo with a switch towards that left flank to Torres. Stepping in briefly. Left-hand touchline now. The cross arriving into the centre, but it's well dealt with by Drake Callender. Will take his time. And roll it out to Tomas Aviles. He'll play it slightly upfield for Julian Gressel. He's going to play it back in the box. All the way to Drake Callender. Central left-hand side now. Central right-hand side, should I say. Tomas Aviles into the centre circle. Here is Luis Suarez. Looking to race forward on that right flank. Short towards Weingart. Here is Matias Rojas. Looking to play the ball slightly infield for Luis Suarez, but it's won back by Orlando. Turning away briefly was Luis Muriel. Going to break past, and in transition is Luis Muriel down that left flank, approaching the byline. Muriel at his right foot weaves past of one player in Busquets. It's well dealt with defensively again by Inter Miami. You can play it forward. Here's Kramashi driving into space. Left-hand flank. Just inside the defensive half for Inter Miami, it's Luis Suarez on that left touchline. And plays it up the left touchline for Benjamin Kramashi. A slight little 10-yard pass, but it's intercepted by Orlando City. Now just on halfway. Into the centre circle here, it is Lodero. Beats past players in the central area once more. Lodero naturally looks towards that central left-hand side is the option. Cartagena. Lodero once more. Central defenders for Orlando now stepping up as well. In the centre circle here is Aloyo. Central left-hand side is Sergel. Now Luis Muriel down that left wing. Cutting onto his right. 25 yards out from goal. It's back with Muriel. Maguire exchanging passes. He's brought down Maguire, but no free kick awarded. Neat little turn away from Julian Gressel, who plays a long ball upfield towards that left flank. Pass intercepted by Orlando. Back in the Orlando attacking half in that central area, out towards the right flank. Here is Angulo, bearing down towards that right edge of the area. It's into Maguire, and it's flicked away by Miami. And now it's back into space as Muriel across the D gets a strike away. He does so, and it's out for a corner. Deflected, but Muriel Just growing into this contest is the Colombian. Good start for this half. Delivered towards a back post and doesn't eventually arrive. Here's Orlando City, central left-hand side on the left edge of the area. It's with Torres with the delivery, but it's off the head of Tomas Aviles out for a corner on the left-hand side. Now the delivery to ensue from Orlando. Here is Ojeda. So we'll look to fashion this in. Step down eventually. And there's a bit of talking to at the moment, but looks like we'll be back underway. Can they fashion one in from this position? They can. It's in towards the centre, but it's going to be kept by Drake Callender very well, and very easily. And Callender's going to play it up the field. Midway point of the defensive half is with Tomas Aviles out towards that central left-hand side. It's back with Aviles. Now it's back with Frio. Midway point of the defensive half here is Tomas Aviles. Slightly upfield for Gressel. Playing it back towards Tomas Aviles. And halfway was Matias Rojas. It's with Benjamin Kremashi. And towards the central right-hand side here is Tomas Aviles. And deft touch now towards Matias Rojas and opens up the space for Kremashi. Past halfway, midway point on Miami's attacking half. Back towards Kremashi. Set the circle here is Sergio Busquets. Now it's with Gressel in the central area. Naturally finds Kremashi. He's going to race forward. Left-hand touchline in line with the left edge of the penalty area. It's Kremashi back of a step to Robert Taylor. And Taylor does find Rojas. Rojas. Now with Gressel. Flicked ball towards the back post. There is Luis Suarez. And it's slightly away from goal, but it did find a deflection off an Orlando City player out for a corner for Inter Miami. This is going to be intriguing. What can they fashion from this position? Inter Miami. That is going to be another question. It's taken in towards the back post. There is Weingart. Suarez with the initial header. Flicked it back into the centre. Still alive for Inter Miami. Frio. Cello Weingart. Space. Suarez cutting onto his left. He was offside though on the initial pass. It looked like. And it's taken away very kindly by Orlando. And racing forward is Luis Muriel. But couldn't exactly find the space. In fact, it actually was Ojeda. On that right flank is Matias Rojas. The midway point of the defensive half is Nicolas Frio. On his left side. Busquets. Now to Nicolas Frio, just on halfway. And looking to race forward now into the attacking half of Miami. Looking towards that left-hand touchline. Here is Inter Miami. 55 minutes gone. An opening is duly required. Miami do have the ascendancy at this point in time. Central right-hand side is Matias Rojas. Centrally does find Julian Gressel. Centre circle is Busquets. Just past halfway is Marcelo Weingart. Now it's back with Matias Rojas. Robert Taylor, the left-hand touchline, back to Matias Rojas. And Rojas is going to play the ball out towards Suarez, but it's well dealt with by Orlando City once more. Maguire managing to break space and beat past Gramashi and play the ball forward. Advantage called though. Angulo. Now Muriel past halfway on that central area as Luis Muriel, blistering pace, is able to beat past several players. Angulo on the right edge of the area. Back towards Muriel in the centre. There the strike on goal arrives from Ojeda, but the offside flag is raised. And another chance goes begging for Orlando City. Well, isn't that just something? The play seems to be really opening up now. And we'll just really see at this point in time what can be mustered up here by Orlando City, who have definitely provided a lot of momentum going forward, but have really struggled to create distinct opportunities despite the one they did in the opening few minutes of that first half. Matias Rojas, central right-hand side now for Tomas Aviles. Now it's with Sergio Busquets. Slightly upfield here is Kramashi. On central left-hand side, here is with Robert Taylor. Plays it back to the defensive half of Inter Miami, Nicolas Freire. Central left-hand side once more. In the centre circle here is Sergio Busquets. And the long ball forward, looking for Robert Taylor. He does find it eventually on that left-hand side. Past the byline. And Suarez can't get the ball away. Back into the midway point of the defensive half for Gressel. There's Kramashi. Back of a step is Busquets. Midway point of the attacking half for Miami. It's Matias Rojas looking for the incisive ball, but it's eventually won out by Orlando City. Aloiho. Schlegel. And it's a 1-2 passing that they can't exactly muster up anything of note. Into the centre circle here is Nicolas Freire. Left-hand side now. Playing it back laterally for Nicolas Freire. Now towards that left flank. Here's Franco Negri. The left-hand touchline is Robert Taylor. Play back on halfway for Nicolas Freire. Looking towards that central right-hand side is Tomas Aviles. Laterally, here is Matias Rojas. Long ball forward, looping, but it's Luis Suarez who just able to massively get into the face of Pedro Galea. I think he hit his body. And he's going to be in a lot of pain here, unfortunately for him. Suarez just hitting the knee, I think, of Pedro Galese. He's definitely in a world of pain at the moment. This break and play does give us an opportunity to look at the other games currently going on in the MLS. New York City FC now lead 2-1 against the Philadelphia Union. Montreal 1-1 with the Columbus Crew. DC United trail 2-0 to the New York Red Bulls. And Cincinnati lead 1-0 up against Atlanta United. Other games, of course, going on today. Austin 0-0 with Houston Dynamo. St. Louis 0-0 with LAFC. Minnesota 0-0 with LA Galaxy. Chicago 0-0 with Charlotte. Nashville 0-0 with Toronto. And of course, Colorado, Real Salt Lake and Portland all in action as well. Just about all the teams in the MLS in action today. Well, not all of them distinctly, but so many of them at the very least. I mean, this weekend we have a couple rivalries as well. New York City up against the New York Red Bulls. That's another big rivalry game to feast your eyes on. New England up against the Philadelphia Union. That's going to be a very intriguing clash as well. Texas derby, Austin up against Houston Dynamo. Expansion side. And it looks like Deleze might not be in the right shape to continue. Their backup goalkeeper is getting ready to come on. So this might be a huge moment for Mason Stasduha, who hasn't played for Orlando City in quite some time. Just the 11 appearances for him in the MLS. He hasn't featured for them in a goalkeeping capacity for quite some time. Back up, but he's not going to come on now at the very least. Pedro Galeza is going to be all okay. Stasduha, of course, with the one appearance in the MLS all the way back in March against Austin FC. He also did play in that second leg match against Calvary in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Midway point of the defensive half here is Thomas Aviles. It's back towards Busquets. Just looking to buy this time into Miami. The tempo has not really been up there thus far. Midway point of the attacking half now. It's with Aviles. Now Gressel back towards Matias Rojas. Incisive pass does find Robert Taylor. Enters the area across the face of goal. And a player does step in there for Orlando briefly, but the flag is called for offside. We'll see a double change. Jordi Alba is going to make his return following an extensive break. And he's going to make his way. Leonardo Campagna as well. Coming off will be Luis Suarez, who hasn't had the best day in front of goal. And Franco Negri also making way. Jordi Alba about a month out with injury, with a muscle injury. This will be an important return for him. Named on the bench, of course, out with injury concern, but is now back, well and truly. That's good news for the away side. Now inside the circle, here is Luis Muriel. One ball out to that left flank, but no one in pursuit with Marcelo Weingart. And it's up now to the attacking half for Orlando. This time in the midfield region, looking to play it forward, but it's headed back by Miami out towards that right flank. It's with Jordi Alba on that left flank now. It's Muriel who steps inside on that right-hand side, and a tug of the shirt from Robert Taylor. This could be a yellow card. In fact, it is the first yellow card of the afternoon, second yellow card of the afternoon. Kramashi was awarded one in the first half, which actually got unnoticed. And Taylor with the tug of the shirt. And now we will see Inter Miami have to defend this one from Orlando City. Perhaps a opportunity that could be in the waiting. About 45 yards out from goal, a very obtuse angle. Delivered towards the back post, but it's headed back by Benjamin Kramashi out for a corner. Now, this will be delivered by Lodero. On his left-hand side, delivered towards the centre. Back by Campagna. Now towards the midway point of the attacking half on that right-hand flank. Drawn in central. This time, Cartagena. It's played back forward by Inter initially. And it's back into the defensive half, and Pedro Galese. They come all the way back outside of his penalty area to play it into a central position for Cartagena. As it's towards this left flank, here is Torres. Naturally does find a midfield option, but it's back into the Orlando City defence. Midway point of the defensive half once more. Here's Cartagena. On that right-hand side now. Orlando playing a back of a step. Here's Bracalo up that right side. And into space. Here is Kramashi. It's Campagna back to goal. Here is Matias Rojas out towards that right flank. Chelo Weingart entering in the area. And Sweeves looks to weave it past into a more central area in the penalty region. And he'll be out for a throw-in for Inter. Marcelo Weingart now finds Busquets into the circle. Here is Nicolas Fleur out to that left flank. Jordi Alba laterally finds Kramashi. On halfway is Nicolas Fleur. He looks to naturally find Tomas Aviles with Gressel. Nice little 1-2 touch as Matias Rojas eventually finding Campagna, but Orlando City in their attacking half looking to play it forward, but it's in the defensive half for Inter once more. Nice little 1-2 touch from Gressel. He's now with Nicolas Fleur in a central position in the defensive half for Inter Miami. Looks towards that left-hand region of the pitch. The left channel is played back right towards Nicolas Fleur. It's with Sergio Busquets looping ball forward. Might be through on goal, Campagna, but Galese has to clear it out with his legs. But fortunately for Orlando, they can live another day. Arroyo at the midway point of their defensive half. Just in the centre circle, here is Muriel looking to break into space. He was brought to ground initially, but he's still racing forward. Here's Luis Muriel approaching the penalty area, looking towards that right flank. Across the face of goal it goes, and it's over out for a corner. It was Ojeda who played the square ball, but Muriel, this is a great run from the Colombian, blistering pace and able to play the nice pass to that right hand side. It was Nicolas Fleur who got his legs in the way, his body in the way, should I say more precisely. Delivered into the centre, but it's out from Orlando. Now towards that right flank. They'll have another delivery at it. It's in towards Ojeda across the byline. Flick towards the back stick. No one's there. Still alive though. It's high ball and a straight calendar he claims. All too easy. Midway point of the defensive half now for Inter Miami this time. It's with Sergio Busquets. Long ball out to that left flank. Here is Jordi Alba. Left-hand touchline is Robert Taylor. Short in towards Leonardo Campagna. And Benjamin Kramashi. So now with Marcelo Weingart. In the centre circle now is with Tomas Aviles and Nicolas Fleur. Left-hand side now is with Jordi Alba. Long ball forward, and it's right into the arms of Pedro Galese. No concern for Orlando. But this is really getting to a point where both sides need to ensure they get momentum going forward. That's Montreal with the attempted flick. But now it's towards Sergio Busquets, who's brought to ground and is awarded the free kick just past halfway. For Sergio Busquets, fortunately enough for him. Montreal also into the book as well. Has the quality, to be sure. Just past halfway is with Tomas Aviles. With a race forward. Campagna back to goal. Here is Matias Rojas. With the switch, and does find Jordi Alba. Back towards Kramashi at the midway point of the attacking half. Now with the Tomas Aviles. And there is, just on halfway, is Tomas Aviles. And it's a yellow card. Again, this time for Aloijo, who just completely lashes into one of the players. And that is going to be a yellow card, it looks like, for Aloijo. He just imposed himself too much on that occasion. Into Miami. This is 73 minutes in. Cesar Aloijo, that is his 5th yellow card, so he'll be out the next match. With Campagna, looping ball towards that right flank. Here is with Julian Gressel. A nice first time ball from Campagna. It's with Marcelo Weingart. Laterally does find Matias Rojas and hits the referee. So we'll have a drop ball. Looking to play that ball laterally, just hits the feet of the referee. Back towards Busquets. Left-hand side is with Jordi Alba. Back with Kramashi. Central left-hand side. It's now back. Now centrally, here is Matias Rojas. 35 yards out from goal, out towards the left edge of the penalty area. Now centrally is Busquets. Neat ball. It's in towards the back post. No, it's rolled across the face. Campagna can't finish. A brilliant chance for Miami to get themselves the first goal. Marcelo Weingart. Now it's with Campagna back to goal. On this right flank, it's Campagna once more into the centre circle. Players up forward for Inter Miami. Central left-hand side is Busquets. Long ball into the area, out towards the back post, but no one is there whatsoever. And a cruel giveaway for Inter Miami. It was a great first-time ball from Busquets. It was Jordi Alba who played it initially, but they couldn't find a delivery. Campagna wasn't there, and it was a great goal-mouth clearance from Wilder Cartagena. He will thoroughly rule that on that occasion. Towards that right flank, and racing forward is Angulo. Right-hand touchline is Luis Montreal. About 10 yards out from the penalty area. Angulo towards the byline. Gets a cross away into the middle. Low lofted cross, but it's into the hands of Drake Callender. Now in the D for Inter Miami. With Sergio Busquets. Central left-hand side. Here is Sergio Busquets. In the centre circle was Matias Rojas. Good touch away. Campagna with the attempted flick on once more, but it's well defended by Cartagena. And so did Rodrigo Schlegel, who did actually play the pass forward. And it's in the attacking half for Inter Miami on that left-hand side as Busquets towards Kremashi. Looking to bide players forward. With the good touch from Matias Rojas, and unleashes on the right flank. Marcelo Weingart looking to enter the area. Cross across the face. But again, well defended by Orlando, who's able to get it clear out towards that right-hand side. Alba for providing support. Ojeda faced with several Inter Miami players, and players are arriving forward for Orlando. Maguire out towards that left flank. Here is Torres. Bearing down on goal, looking towards the right flank. Muriel cutting inside on his right foot. Well defended by Marcelo Weingart. Was able to get it away out towards that left flank now for Inter Miami on that left-hand touchline. He's with Jordi Alba. Play well and truly beginning to open up here. Sergio Busquets just outside the centre circle in the central region. Plays it upfield for Campagna. Busquets, the diagonal towards Gressel across the D. The header unable to be executed. A flick back from Matias Rojas. And now it's back with Nicolas Flair, who steps up towards that central left-hand side. Here is Jordi Alba. Busquets. Chipped in ball, but it's well dealt with by Pedro Galese, who comes out of his box to claim. Busquets is really just pulling the strings for this Inter team. He's definitely been the best player on the park. That is to be certain. He is the focal point of this midfield, and he's been on cue. 90% passing accuracy. Outside of the foot pass from Torres. It's one ball played forward by Miami. It's Rojas in space. Midway point of the attacking half, but his first touch and second touch is slightly away from him. A nice little 1-2 touch, and now towards that left flank. Here is Torres. Left-hand touch line. Plays it short once more. Leo Alfonso is going to come on. And Dagro Dan Porhalsen. He's going to make way as well as Rafael Santos for Orlando City, it looks like. Midway point of the defensive half for Orlando. Pass halfway on that left flank. Here is Torres. Laterally does find the option in Arroyo. Now it's Maguire across the D. The strike on goal does arrive from Luis Muriel. In fact, it was Ojeda out towards that right flank, outside of the box. But it wasn't to be. It was a fantastic opportunity before. Muriel just thought too much about that, and it was out of play eventually. Rafael Santos, of course, the arrival for Orlando City. Rafael Santos, a left back, formerly of Cruzeiro, and Luis Muriel is going to make way, and also, of course, Dagger Dan Porhausen. Dagger on the back of his shirt, Thorhausen. Formerly of clubs in Iceland, and he's a 5-capped Iceland international. David Ruiz is going to make way onto the park as well. Leo Alfonso making way for Robert Taylor. And off coming for Orlando, and also Benjamin Kremashi going to make way as well. Coming off for Orlando, Angulo and Muriel. So, the last ditch 10 minutes of football. This is going to be football at a knife's edge. Midway point of the defensive half here is Sergio Busquets in the centre circle. Midway point of the attacking half now for Orlando City. Midway point of the defensive half now, out towards that central left-hand side now. Schlegel exchanging passes. Crossed into the box, so it does eventually arrive from the substitute in Rafael Santos. And the throw-in does eventually be taken. Quick ball into the centre, but it's well dealt with by Orlando. The attempt to strike a goal does eventually arrive, but it's deflected by Miami and will be out for a corner. In fact, won't be for a corner, it'll be right as a goal kick. Well, Lodilo has been all across the park. The midfielder has done basically everything for Orlando City. Tomas Aviles, midway point of the defensive half. It's back with Sergio Busquets. Tomas Aviles. Long ball upfield. It's into the palms of Pedro Galese. Schlegel, left-hand side. Here is Rafael Santos. Santos plays it back to Schlegel. Midway point of the defensive half. Once more, 10 minutes left in this contest. Cartagena. Schlegel back to Cartagena. Out towards that right flank. In fact, it's more central. Busquets, central left-hand side is Leo Afonso. Midway point of the defensive half. It's back with Nicolas Fleer. Centre circle is Busquets. Now Nicolas Fleer. Busquets in the centre circle. Chip ball out to that right-hand touchline is with Weingart. Back on halfway is Aviles. Exchanging passes with Nicolas Fleer. Ball upfield for Afonso out towards that left-hand touchline. Now back towards Nicolas Fleer. Towards Tomas Aviles. Now to Marcelo Weingart. Out towards that right-hand touchline. Here's Matias Rojas stepping into midfield. Campaña back to goal. Midway point of the attacking half. Centre circle once more with David Ruiz. Slightly upfield for Busquets. Busquets looking towards that left-hand touchline. Ball out towards Afonso. He got the ball towards the byline. He looks to fashion a cross in, but it's out for a corner. And so Julian Gressel is going to stand over this one on that left-hand side. On his right foot will look to fashion one in. Well, here we go. It's Julian Gressel. To now deliver this one on his right foot. Gressel towards a back stick. Frio was there, and so too was Campaña to header it in, but it was given as a foul initially. Oh, goodness gracious. A cruel giveaway for Inter Miami. And looks like Tomas Aviles is also in a bit of pain, unfortunately, as well. Another change oncoming will be Jack Lynn. And off-coming is going to be Maguire, who's barely had any touches of the ball this evening. Duncan Maguire, only 16 touches at that. And Jack Lynn is going to provide more of a energized striking option. Just the one goal in his MLS career. 24-year-old. He did score about a month ago. 85 minutes gone now, and another change. So Ikvitsov is going to make his way on, it looks like, for Tomas Aviles. will be one of the more intriguing last few minutes of the contest in this game. We'll see. Now from Pedro Gallese. It's cleared up one by Gallese. Backwards header out towards that left-hand side. Can't be kept in, however. And nearly going over the railing was Jacqueline with his first touch of the ball. In fact, his first head of the ball, should we say. Matias Rojas with the outrageous clearance. Midway point of the defensive half once more. Nicolas Freire. Central right-hand side is Kvitsov. Nicolas Freire, a more tenured centre-back partnership with Kvitsov and Nicolas Freire. Certainly up there in age, both over the age of 30. Right-hand touchline is Weingart in the defensive half of Miami, up the field towards that right flank. All dealt with eventually by the Orlando player and Rafael Santos. Cartagena exchanging passes with his defensive half teammates, and that's going to be a foul given away by Busquets on Ladiro. A bit of a specky almost, just into the back of him. 87 minutes now. In this contest has been completed. Past halfway eventually. And Ladiro does find space in the attacking half for Orlando City. Now towards that right side as Ojeda, right-hand touchline, racing forward. Is Thorhalsen. Gets a strike away! And it does not hit any Miami players on the way through. Thorhalsen will see it out for a goal kick. Just curled away and over the bar towards that right-hand side. And now Miami in the defensive half. It's with Drake Callender. Now towards Nicolas Freire. Busquets back to his goalkeeper and Callender. It's Kvitsov inside the box. Central right-hand side is with Julian Gressel. This past halfway is with Nicolas Freire. Now Kvitsov in the D region. Kvitsov. Central left-hand side is Freire. Back to Kvitsov. Central right-hand side is with Julian Gressel. Rojas exchanging passes, and Rojas receives in board once more. On his left foot out towards that left flank. It's with Jordi Alba crossing past halfway. And he looks towards that right-hand side. It's then kept in play by Marcelo Weingart. Busquets laterally is Matias Rojas. Kvitsov out towards that right-hand side is with Gressel. In the attacking half for Inter Miami. Now approaching the 90th minute. Past halfway is Nicolas Freire. In the centre circle is Serhii Kvitsov. Busquets, Kvitsov. It's with Busquets. The long ball up towards that left-hand side. Freire stepping inside is David Ruiz now. Back to goal. Ruiz racing forward, but it's a good defensive challenge from Orlando. Central left-hand side once more is Jordi Alba, Rojas, Gressel at the midway point of the attacking half, out towards that right-hand touchline. Weingart centrally finds Campagna, back to goal. Busquets, the switch across into the box, but it's well dealt with by Thorhalsen. Lynn with the first touch, good little first touch away, but he can't find the option on that left flank in Torres. And at the midway point of the defensive half is Kvitsov once more in the centre circle. Here is Ruiz. Back with Busquets. Now Gressel. Little chipped in ball forwards, but it's claimed by Gallese. He's going to take his sweet time, knowing that they're in no rush whatsoever. 6 minutes of added time as well. And Gallese had a bit of a challenge in that first half. which he seemed to be in a lot of pain, but now we'll see as to what might change. If there's anything to change at all, at the very least. Galeza is going to get it clear with a Gaelic-like clearance. Busquets heading it back towards that left-hand side, and Alba will head it back to his goalkeeper in Drake Callender. And neither side are really in a rush whatsoever to get themselves forward. It's very intriguing to see that, at the very least. It's with Seik Vitov inside the box. Slightly long ball forward. It's with Afonso with a good first touch. Central left-hand side now for Orlando City. Playing it back of a step, looking to get it clear. It's Torres with a good first touch down that left-hand touchline. Lynn can't keep it in. So we'll see another throw from Lodeiro. Now it's with Cartagena in the centre circle now. Bercalo, Cartagena, looking ball out towards that left flank. Here's Santos. On this left-hand side now. Carrying it back towards Schlegel. Midway point of the attacking half. And a player brought to ground, and the fact was Arroyo. Back to goal was Busquets. Looking to get it past on that right-hand flank, but he can't. And racing forward is Lodeiro. Midway point of the attacking half from Orlando City. There's Torres. Back to Lodeiro on that left flank. This time, looking towards the byline. Torres with the cross inside. Deflected by Miami, and they get it clear. It's kept in play by Orlando City. In fact, it won't. It'll be a throw-in for them at the midway point of their attacking half. We'll see a final change. It looks like we'll see one from Orlando City. Italo Tsukuda. The individual who was drafted from the West Virginia Mountaineers, taken at 25th overall, was featured in the MLS Next Pro this season. But today marks a significant occasion for him. It is his MLS debut. And it's now with Orlando City looking to race forward, but Tsukuda was asking for the overlapping run. Rojas back to goal. Here's Gressel inside the defensive half, and he's awarded a free kick. And that was an important chance for Orlando City. It was a great ball forward. Lynn chested down, and then racing forward was the option of Lodeiro, but he couldn't find anything going forward. Midway point of the defensive half this time is Nicolas Fleer. Because it was a double against the New York Red Bulls MLS Next Pro side last week that catapulted him into the first team here at Orlando City. Towards the central right-hand side is Serhii Kvitsov. Now or never now for Inter Miami, as we are now 94 minutes into this contest. Matias Rojas. Space is Gressel on that right flank. Can he get the pass away? He can't. And it's won back by Orlando. This time, racing forward is Santos. Space opening up in the middle. This time for Ojeda. Out to that right flank. Thor Halsen on the right edge of the area. It's Thor Halsen across the face of goal. Here is Arroyo. He's got plenty of Miami players to part with, but the shot is deflected eventually. I'll have to fashion the delivery in. Rafael Santos looks to deliver it in once more to the near post. And it was Jack Lynn who couldn't get the header away. And eventually the clearance from Gressel hits the head of an Orlando player. And that might be the final act for Orlando. Inter might have one last bite of the cherry. But did it hit the arm of an Orlando player here, or an Inter player? No, it didn't. But nonetheless, what a game we've been treated to. Almost a chess match of sorts. And Drake Callender, with 20 seconds left, is going to play it up the field. It's cleared Hart Field. Campagna with the header forwards, but it's won back by Orlando. And racing forward is Rafael Santos on that left flank. Looking to beat past the player, and he does so. He beats past Weingart towards the byline. The cross into the centre, no one's there. But the player still alive on the left edge of the area. Lodira with a cross towards the back post. Can a player reach it? He can't. Thorhalsen, the substitute. Tsukuda sends it high and high over the bar. And that will surely be the final act of this contest generally. Utaro Tsukuda. Yutaru Tsukuda.
Bye.